And so, what should be the ideal strategy with respect to CSAT paper?
The strategy here is how to optimize your score such a way that you are above the cutoff mark. And what is the cutoff mark? That is what you should know.
So, is there a practical range of like the number of questions that one should mark?
If you attempt all 100 questions, you will 100% fail. We should not attempt more than 75 questions, 77 questions at the best.
Do you think it is important to rely on a first instinct?
What comes to your mind first is very important because that is from your subconscious mind.
So, what would you consider is the most safe yet reliable way of handling the OMR sheet?
Suppose you mark everything in the question paper and you kept everything for the last. It may so happen that, some mismanagement in the timing and the last minute, you are not able to transfer every answer into the OMR.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our podcast. UPSC Prelims is not just a test of our knowledge. It is a test of our mental strength, temperament, judgment, and strategy under pressure. With UPSC Prelims barely 2 weeks away now, every aspirant has one question running through their minds. That is, what will work for us on the D-Day? Today, to tackle that question, we have a veteran joining us, Mr. Jojo Mathews, the director of ALS IAS, who's mentored over 3 lakh students in his journey staying in the UPSC ecosystem. Sir, we welcome you. Today in this session, Sir will be dealing with how to efficiently handle the OMR sheets, how many questions to mark, should we pause midway to assess our pace and the number of questions we have marked, how to tackle with CSAT questions. Aspirants, this is not your everyday strategy session. This is going to be an examination hall survival guide for the D-Day. Hope this helps all of us. Sir, a very warm welcome once again. Let's begin. So before we start with the strategy, I would like to address the question that almost every aspirant has in their mind. That is, how much should one realistic aim to score? How should they stay safely competitive with respect to the prelims exam?
See, the first thing you should know is that preliminary exam is only it's a qualifying thing. The marks are not even added for the final selection. Right. And whoever comes top, they have a set ratio. For example, if there are 1,000 vacancies, around 13 to 14,000 people will be allowed to clear this preliminary exam so that the real exam starts or the real competition starts there. So in this 14,000 people who are clearing, in this there is proper, that quota for each community is there. OBC, right. Scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, EWS, all quota is also there. So naturally, this is the first stage. And here you have to just qualify. And, here the thing is, 100 questions are there in paper 1. It's not that you have to answer all 100 questions. It's not that you have to be a topper there. You have to just qualify it, right? So the strategy here is how to optimize your score such a way that you are above the cutoff mark. And what is the cutoff mark? That is what you should know. Last year in 2025, the cutoff was 92.66 for the general category. In fact, OBC, it was 92. Just 0.6 difference. EWS is slightly less. Even for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, the difference were only 4 or 5 questions. Around 8 marks, 9 marks like that. Even before, the 2024, if you look, the cutoff was around 87.98. So 88 marks. So then again, OBC difference is just 0.6. And then scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, 8 marks, 9 marks like that. So the difference is not very high. 8 marks is just 3 or 4 questions. So you should not be thinking that I have I have some reservation or some benefit, so I need to study less. No, 3 or 4 questions is nothing at this stage. Okay, so the score last year, if it is around 92, this year it may be around 95. And even if that logical progression, if you talk about, and unless otherwise there is a drastic change in the pattern, and I'm not seeing any such possibility. So 94, 95 means you need to get around 55 questions correct.
55.
And after deducting all negative marks, 55 questions means into 2, 110. Even if you make some 20 mistakes, minus say around that one third, 7, 8 marks. So that 110 minus 7, 8 means around 100 it will be there. So you will be at a safer zone if you are working something like this. So the challenge is how to get around 55 questions right after attempting around, say, 75 odd questions. So that is what the marks which you should be looking. And OBC, no difference in the cutoff. Scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, 3 or 4 questions less. So if 55 should be correct for general category, 51 should be correct for scheduled caste, and maybe 50 for scheduled tribe. That's not a big difference at all at this level.
So you have in a way answered my next question,
Mm.
which was, do you think that there has to be it is very important, very strategic to have, to decide the number of questions that one
Yeah.
should really mark, because there is negative marking.
Exactly.
So is there a practical range of the number of questions that one should mark?
Yes, definitely. In fact, I can tell you, if you attempt all 100 questions, you'll 100% fail.
100%.
100% fail. If you attempt all 100 questions and come out and say, sir, I attempted all, the test was very easy, I can give you in writing that you will fail in that attempt 100%. Because, you may be able to answer around 55, 56 questions correct.
Correct.
A very good candidate, it may reach 60 questions. So if you can mark, if you get only 55 questions correct, and if you are attempting all 100 questions, that means 45 questions wrong, 1/3 negative marks here, that means 15 minus 15, 45 wrong means 15 minus. So 55 minus 15 is 40. 40 into 2 is only 80 marks. The cutoff was 92 last year. So I can guarantee your failure if you are attempting all questions. So what is required? What you should understand here is, we should not attempt more than 75 questions, 77 questions at the best. And because, last 3 years, we have that statement questions. I'll come to that.
Yes.
So those statement questions, only one statement correct and 2 statements are correct, or all 3 are correct, that question is the most dangerous question. So since we have so many such questions, your upper limit of attempt should not be more than, say, 75, 77 questions. So and in fact, this negative marks, what you should understand here is, in, say, for example, CUET, the negative marks is 20% only. That means you get a correct answer will get 5 marks, and a wrong answer will only -1. In JEE and NEET, you 1/4, only 25% is the negative marks. Here is 1/3. It's very high. In fact, if you attend more questions, your negative marks will be more, and your score will go down dramatically. That is what most people are not able to understand. They are always thinking that, I knew this, I let me take a risk here. This is not the place to take such kind of risks. So, negative marks in UPSC is one of the highest which I have seen. 1/3 marks is very high. As I told you, JEE and NEET and all, it's only 1/4. In CU, it is 1/5. So there the risk is very less. You can take risk and attempt more questions, and still you can get more marks. But here it is not the case like this. So the safe range is around 75, 77 is the highest level. And similarly, you should attempt a minimum. If you under attempt also, it's a problem. So you should attempt around 70, because no matter whatever you do, no matter how confident you are, you will make mistakes. So you cannot get all questions correct. Some people say, I attempted only what I am 100% sure. Your 100% sure is not also the correct answer. So at least, a very good candidate will get 80% accuracy. Not more than that. 10 questions if you are marking, 8 will be correct for a very good candidate. So, or maybe 20 questions, 17 can be correct.
Right.
But it cannot be more than that. So you will make mistakes there. So if you attempt more, it's a problem. If you attempt very less, it's also a problem. So my safe range of number of questions is 70 to 77.
Okay.
77 is upper limit if you think that, okay, the paper is very easy, I'm able to crack it, this, that, what you say. And if such candidates, 77. If you think it is a tough, 70. But it cannot be more, it cannot be less. If you mark more negative marks will kill you. if you mark less, suppose you have attempted only 60, and suppose, if you have, even if 80% accuracy is there, so you 10, 12, so at least 5 marks will go. So it will be less for you to ultimately achieve the target. So it can be very dangerous. So it has to be in the safe zone.
And so, what should be the ideal strategy with respect to CSAT paper, considering it's highly unpredictable with respect to the difficulty part now?
Yeah.
So, how many number of questions should one attempt? Time allocation, time management.
See, CSAT, 80 questions are
80
there.
questions.
Generally, what we are seeing is that around 30 questions related to reading comprehension, and around 30 questions on the reasoning and logic, and 22 questions on arithmetic and maths, like that. So, depending upon your comfort level, wherever you are. See, ultimately, we need to get 27 questions out of 80 to be correct.
Correct.
After deducting all negative marks. So, for that, I personally feel that, again, a safe zone is around 55 questions, 55 to 60 you can attempt. Not more than that. Where you are not sure about that, you should be leaving it rather than attempt and then get a negative mark there. Because in CSAT also you have negative marks. You know it very well. So, around 50, 55 to 60, and minimum, you should aim at 40 correct. There should be 40 correct answers in that. So, even if there are 20 negative marks, 90 questions, 20 questions wrong, so you will lose around 7 marks. So, 40 minus 7 is 33, and you are still safe. Okay, so 2.5 into 33 into 2.5 is quite good. Okay, so the idea here is, what kind of strategy as far as the number of questions to be attempted. If you are not so comfortable in maths and arithmetic, if you are an arts graduate, so naturally your temptation will be not to attend many questions from the arithmetic part. It's true. So even there's 20 questions, there will be some easy questions. So you should always search and find out which is that easy, so that you can get it correct. Okay. And arts graduates, general temptation is they say that I will do all reading comprehension. Yes, you do it, but you cannot overdo it also. So around 30 questions, not more than 45 minutes time for reading comprehension. So whether you start with reading comprehension or you do it in the end, either way, 45 minutes should be devoted, at least 45 minutes should be devoted for reading comprehension. Rest 1 hour, 15 minutes, you can devote it for the arithmetic and reasoning and logical reasoning. So that is how you can devote the time. Depending upon your comfort level, you start with maths or you start with reading comprehension. That is your choice. But ultimately, attempt around 55. Try to get around 40 correct, so that you are always on the safer side. And reading comprehension, overdoing also will not help, because a paragraph is given. If you're not able to make out what is right or wrong out of the 4 options, after 10 readings also it will be something like that only. So you have to devote equal time, or rather enough time. I will not say equal time, enough time for maths, reasoning, and then definitely not more than 45 minutes for reading comprehension, so that you can be at a safer zone.
At a safer zone. So, assuming an aspirant has finished marking some of the questions in first round of they're going through the paper, and they still have some time left with them, and they've not marked the number of questions as you have mentioned. It is like they've mentioned somewhat around 60, 62. So, do you think they should conservatively stick with that whatever mark range that they have taken, or they should fall into blind guessing? So,
see,
what should be their mindset, especially in that moment?
See, as I told you in paper 1, your aim should be to attempt around 70, maximum 77, 78. At the maximum 77, I always say, because the questions are not that easy these days. So, but if you end up, you tried everything and you reached around 60, and still you have 15 minutes time. My suggestion is that you have to increase that number, because 60 is very risky. From if you are attempting only 60 questions and say your accuracy level is only say 70%, so 42 only correct, and that means you are out straight away.
Right.
So 75% also means maybe around you have 45%, 45 questions correct. So that 45 question correct is not sufficient to get through the exam, and your minus marks will go. So you will be out straight away. So you have to reach around 70. So for that, you may have to take some additional risk, and make it 70, around 70, 69, 70, so that, you are at least in competition. So for that, then rather than that blind guess word you use, you should be using like, you have a doubt between two options. Like, suppose three statements are given, two of them. One, you are not sure. So maybe you take a guess, or rather you take a risk and attempt that question, so that, that 50-50 chance is always there. So that kind of, maybe risk we will have to take ultimately. So my suggestion is, if it is only around 60 right now, if you see that, you reached only 60, I think you have not attempted enough to be in competition. So you have to increase the number to around 69, 68 to 70, so that at least there is a hope. If you are coming out with 60, I can straight away say that, okay, 99% you are not going to qualify, because you have attempted only 60. Definitely there will be mistakes. See, what I'm trying to tell you is that if you are reaching only 60 means what? You are not fully prepared for this exam.
Yes.
So, naturally, the error also will be high.
Yes.
See, those who are able to attend more are the people who are prepared or well prepared. So, such people, if their error is less, the score will be very high. But if you attempt too much, without any control, such people, if the accuracy, what is happening, I have seen in that class, when we start preparing, the accuracy level is only around 50%. Even NCERT tests I have seen, students are just getting 50% accuracy. See, 50% accuracy is not sufficient for this exam. That means you have read once, you have some idea, you are not sure about the answers. So then the accuracy will be less. So we have to increase the accuracy, no doubt regarding this. So attempting only 60, and if 50% accuracy means you are getting 30 questions correct. That is too less to even think about this qualification, right? So try to reach 70. Don't cross 77. That should be, and you have to be very serious about that 77 upper limit, which I say, because temptation in the exam hall is to attempt one more, like that, and ultimately, Padachala, you have reached 90, and most of the additional questions you marked are wrong, and then you will be in deep trouble.
So one has to work very consciously in maintaining high accuracy.
Definitely, accuracy. Not only that, first the number. Then, of course, see, the point here is when you mark an answer, you are always marking it thinking that it is right. Nobody wants to mark an option thinking that it is wrong. Nobody will do that. So, but on what basis you are confident? That's the question. If it is only because of your wish, only because you think that, God will save you and you mark, then it will be quite dangerous.
So I think the most striking change that we see in the paper these days is the evolution of statement-based questions. Yeah. I think around 27 were there the last year, and 47 in year 2023. So
not just statement-based question. That's statements where three statements are given, where they are not specifying which statement is correct.
Yes.
They are saying out of the three, only one statement is correct, or two statements are correct, and all three are correct. None of them are correct. Like that, when the options are given, and they are not specifying which statement is correct or wrong, that is very dangerous. Yeah.
What do you suggest for aspirants to strategically train themselves for this evolution?
See, I believe this is the most dangerous question.
Yes.
It is the most difficult question to answer also. Earlier, the statement question is, they are saying statement 1 is correct, or statement 2 is correct, or 1 and 2 are correct. So, at least the examiner is telling you that this statement, according to the examiner, is correct. So, now you have to tell whether it is correct or not. But when you are not given that choice, only statements are given, and you are not told whether that statement is correct or which statement is correct or wrong. So, that means you have to be extremely careful. Such questions, you can answer only if you know all the three statements. And in every likelihood, the chance of you knowing all the three is very less. If three statements are given, you may end up knowing two. So that is why you might have seen that in 2023, when 47 such questions were there, the cutoff went down dramatically. Even for general category, the cutoff was only 75, and for scheduled tribe it became 48. Can you imagine? So just 48 questions or 48 marks only out of 200 to qualify. Why? Because that people were taken totally off guard. And that was the worst year as far as the cutoff marks were concerned. But luckily, last year, 2024 also, 25 also, such number of questions came down, and that is why the cutoff marks also went up. So, in such questions, the only answer from my side is you cannot have blind guesses.
Blind.
3 statements are given. If you know only 2, and the third statement, if you don't know, you cannot make a blind guess just like that, unless otherwise you are in need of another 4 or 5 questions to reach that 70 level which I am talking. In such cases, you can take a risk and mark it. Otherwise, you should not be getting. See, once you come out of the exam hall and when you search the internet, it may look very easy, those questions. But in the exam hall, it is not easy at all in such questions. So, around 30, up to 30 questions, if it is coming, we should feel good and lucky. If 50 questions and 47 questions like that, the way it came in 2023, such paper is very difficult to answer.
Do you think it is important to rely on a first instinct?
See, I always talk about the first instinct theory. I mean, of course, it may not be my theory also, but many people talk about that. See, in fact, what I say is that when you read a statement, what comes to your mind first is very important.
Very important.
Because that is from your subconscious mind. You read, and if you have read earlier, that first instinct, okay, by reading the statement, if your subconscious mind tells you that, okay, it is correct or wrong, that first instinct answer is most likely to be the correct answer. Because after some time, when you read and when you think again, your conscious mind will try to help you, and in the process, many wrong logics will come into picture, and ultimately what you mark may be wrong. So my personal feeling, or rather my personal gut strategy is, whatever comes to you first is most likely to be the right right answer for you. And of course, I don't say that every time it will work, but this is for a good candidate. I mean, all these things work for candidates who have worked hard, who have studied. There is revised again and again. So when you read a statement, if something clicks instantaneously, most likely that should be the correct answer, because that is coming from your subconscious mind. And you can rely on yourself. I mean, you please see, you can try also. Now, before going to the exam, when you take the sample test, mock test, try that, and you will get a feel that whether what I said is correct or not, and then apply it in the final exam. Don't try this for the first time in the UPSC exam, of course.
And many aspirants I've seen, they also follow the 2-round strategy. So, what do you think is the best way to deal with that? Is it a right approach to begin with in the first place? And then if the student is doing that, how should he deal with that? I mean, the aspirant should deal with it.
See, what I understand from your question is, this 2-round strategy means, you have 100 questions. 100. Now, you read question number 1, and you are not very sure what is the answer. Now, what is to be done with that question? Should we leave that question and go to the next question, so that we can come back again after some time to read that question number 1 again and take a final decision after some time? For me, and many people say that, you keep marking, whatever you know. See, it may be true, it may be applicable in many other exams. And in UPSC, it may not be that easy, because here multiple statements are there. And you are asked again, only one statement is correct, 2 statements are correct, even without telling which statement is correct or wrong. So this strategy of coming back for a second round and a third round and all, it may not be that suitable for our civil service exam. Because it is time consuming to read a question, understand the question, 3 statements you read, then you look at all the options and conclusion to be taken. It takes time. Now, suppose you read, you could not take a conclusion at that time. If you come back again, you'll have to spend the same number of time. So, there is every likelihood that you did not get any time to come back. You read the question, you understood the question, you had a small doubt. You are not 100% sure about your answer. So, if you leave there and go to another question, so you have wasted that a couple of minutes. When you come back again, you'll have to spend equal number of time. So, my suggestion is, you decide then and there, and to decide to mark or not to mark. If you say, I'm not going to mark this answer because I'm not sure at all, you eliminate that. I mean, you say that, okay, I'm not marking this at all. And if at all you want to come back, you can come back only if there is some spare time. You are not relying on that coming back again. You may not come back. If you come back, you may read. And still, if there is a conclusion, because if you have not touched that 70 and all, you may mark. So, my suggestion is, don't wait for that second round to come. First round, in the first round itself, you take a decision whether I am going to mark. Maybe extra 30 seconds you take for that question. Take a decision. If you decide that, okay, C is the answer, then you mark it. If you decide that, no, I'm not still sure, I don't want to mark it, that means you are not going to mark at all in this attempt. Maybe, as I told you, in the worst scenario, last 10 minutes, you could not achieve that 70 questions attempting, which I am saying. Maybe 1 or 2 questions like that, you may be attempting and marking it. But that is a rare chance. So, no second round, third round for me. Only one round, that is the final round. That 2 hours, you have to use it effectively and, very, very, very studiously, I will say.
So I think one of the most critical yet underestimated aspect of handling the prelims paper is that we often overlook the handling of OMR sheet. We don't efficiently handle it. So what would you consider is the most safe yet reliable way of handling the OMR sheet?
See, in fact, this is what I have seen, which are very sadly I see many candidates. They say that, come and say that I will bubble the OMR sheet in the end. No. How can you do that? Suppose you read a question, say question number 1, you decided the answer is C. You are even marked even in your question paper also. Then why are you not marking it immediately in the OMR? If you are not doing it, there are many chances. See, suppose you mark everything in the question paper and you kept everything for the last. It may so happen that, some mismanagement in the timing and the last minute, you are not able to transfer every answer into the OMR. So you lost everything. If you come out of the exam hall and say, sir, I got 60 or either my score is 110, but only in my question paper, I failed to transfer it into the OMR sheet. It's a disaster. It's a crime. So, and some people say, no, sir, I will read 4 or 5 questions. Once I complete 4 or 5, I will transfer those 5 together to the OMR. So, all this nonsense should not happen. And you think, whatever question you attempted, if question number 1 you attempted, answer is C, transfer it to the OMR. Then 2-3 questions you could not attempt because you are not sure about the answer, leave it. But question number 5, again you concluded that said D is the answer, transfer then and there into the OMR sheet. Don't delay. It has to be a simultaneous process. Any other strategy can be disastrous for you. And so many incidents I have seen. You keep OMR sheet somewhere, you are not even concentrating. I know a candidate last time and he kept the OMR sheet in his side, and the other candidate who was sitting there, he by mistakenly taken that OMR and bubbled everything. His series is different. He was A series, the candidate was B series, and such disasters also can happen. So it is your OMR, you mark right from the beginning so that nobody else will take away, or it is done properly, so that at the end of 2 hours, even if things go wrong, at least you have converted or you have transferred each and every answer which you knew, and it is there in your OMR, means still there is a chance of you are still in the competition. Otherwise, you are out right in the exam hall itself.
So one aspect that is often overlooked is reading instructions by the aspirants. Despite its enormous importance, we take it very lightly. Be it the notification of UPSC exam or admit card related instructions. How important is it to really read and understand it?
See, there is no need to tell that it is very important.
Very important.
It is the most important thing, I always feel. Candidates are many times they behave disastrously when it comes to these instructions. I know cases where they have forgotten to take a ballpoint pen, that black color. I did not know it is black color. I have a blue color. Then somebody saying that, I did not know that I have to reach exam hall at least half an hour before or 45 minutes before. In fact, 9:30 is the exam, does not mean they have to reach at 9:30. In fact, you have to be seated before 9 o'clock. And you should reach the exam hall at least by 8:30, so that you have safely identified the location and identified the classroom. You are seated at the right place, and you are relaxed, and you are not under any kind of hurry or tension. So you have to be there at before 8:30 in the exam hall. It's such an important day for you. And I know a candidate who reached the exam hall at 9:10, and he was denied, and that was his last attempt. Can you imagine these kind of things to happen? I mean, they're real stories I'm telling you. And suppose you're not sure about the school where the exam is to be conducted, and you may be searching for the school early in the morning. Those things should not happen. You should go and see the place beforehand, so that there is no confusion whatsoever. So the instruction to be read is very important. Read all instructions carefully. What kind of things can be carried? You cannot carry any electronic item. You cannot carry your mobile phone, no Bluetooth, nothing. And if you carry, and even if it is there, you don't have to use it. If a mobile rings inside the exam hall, that itself can be a reason for you being thrown out of the exam hall, and you can be debarred from the exam for a couple of weeks. I know a candidate, again last year, he kept his mobile phone in his bag inside the classroom, far away from his body, but still it was recovered, and he was debarred from the exam for 3 years by UPSC. So these kind of things can happen. So you have to be very, very careful. Know the instructions carefully. In fact, the instruction during the time of the notification, instruction on the admit card, and instruction on the answer booklet itself. So you please read all carefully, and most importantly, instruction about the question. In fact, suppose question number 10, if there is an instruction there, please read that. There was a particular year, I still remember, the instruction was that for the next 5 questions, no negative marks. It was written. So many people did not read the instruction, and they were not sure about the answer. They did not attempt. And in fact, when there is no negative mark, you can attempt all questions. You must attempt all questions. They did not do that. So these kind of nonsense should not happen to you only because you did not read the instruction. And again, assertion, reason questions when it comes. The instructions can be changing. We know what is the standard instruction for that. But every question, there may be a different instruction for that. So read instructions carefully. Make sure that you are not missing out. Sometimes, which of the following statements are not correct. The not word, if it is not seen. And you have to encircle it and keep it so that you are very clear, and every time which is not correct. You know what is correct. So, you identify the correct statements, then you arrive at the answer by, eliminating the wrong ones. I mean, you have to do it carefully. So reading instruction, not only inside the exam hall, before going to the exam also, make sure that you are reading all the instructions. Again, you have to bring 2 printed admit cards. You cannot say, it is there in my mobile phone, sir. Some of you will say. And then your government ID, very clearly mentioned, which is that original ID we have to carry, whether it is Aadhaar, and Aadhaar photo is not visible only. These kind of things should not be happening. Okay. Be careful, read the instruction, and follow the instruction in letter and spirit. And in many schools, the invigilators are school teachers only. They may not be, they are coming not because of any other thing, the prestige involved in invigilating for IAS exam. So they may be over strict also. So all these things can happen to you. So relax, cool. If you know the instructions carefully, you will not make mistakes, and you will not be tensed also. Even if the invigilator is slightly harsh, don't fight with the invigilator unnecessarily, because you have to keep your calm. You have to attempt all 100 questions properly without mistake. If you are tense, if you are fighting with the invigilator, if you are not happy, then if your BP is high, and then anyway you will be under tension. Now, if you add further tension, it will be a big problem. So reach the exam hall much before time. Read instructions. That's the only thing I would like to say.
Okay. So my next question is going to be about the most mysterious part about the prelims exams, that is guessing the answers. every aspirant in some point of their life has said it. I guessed it and it turned out right. And we call it intelligent guessing. What is your take on the art and danger of this guessing thing that we do in the exam?
See, UPSC questions are such that, the answers are, you cannot say by reading the question, though immediately only by seeing the question, you know the answer,
Yes.
and I have to search where is the answer written in the 4 options. That situation will never come. So naturally, you have to use your brilliance and you have to use your brain to arrive at the answer. So some of the, say for example, if it is a factual question, if a fact is asked, Hormuz, Strait connects Gulf of, the Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. Suppose something is written there. If you don't know the names, you cannot guess anything.
Yes.
You cannot say that I thoughts are like this, or Babel Mandab is between Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. If it is written like that, if you don't know, it's a factual question. In a factual question, you cannot make any guess. If you know, you can answer. If you don't know, you cannot answer. But if it is a concept based, generally, if you make a statement about something, okay, drip irrigation uses less water, or rather it helps in, or rather it prevents excessive erosion of the soil, or rather drip irrigation will not allow nutrient flow, or rather it will not wastage of nutrients. So something like that. Even if you have not read a general statement about that, if you know something about drip irrigation, you may be able to, or micro irrigation, something like that. So where the concept is involved, you can make some guess, no doubt regarding this, but it is not a blind guess in the factual questions. Conceptual questions, if you understand the theme and you can arrive at an intelligent conclusion, so those things can be done. Otherwise, blind guessing is not possible, but you have to guess. 100% you have to guess. 100% you have to arrive at an answer. See, guessing means, why we are saying that you are normally using the term guessing when you are answering a question, even though you did not read it exactly that statement before. So some guess, but that should be an intelligent guess on conceptual topics, no conceptual questions, not on factual questions. Suppose it is mentioned that the population growth rate in India is X, say 2% or 1% or 1.2%. If you don't know, you cannot write that.
You cannot write that.
So you have to be careful about that. Otherwise, some amount of guessing is required. Some intelligent guess will always come into picture. Then only you can arrive at that 70 questions, minimum of 70 attempts, which I am talking every time.
You have been in the UPSC ecosystem and for nearly 3 decades now. You have mentored more than, I guess, 3 lakh students. So is there a particular memorable moment that has stayed with you over these years? A funny incident, or like a lesson that you learned in your journey of mentoring, or any success story that you have to share with us?
See,
is there
a couple of things I always remember is, a candidate, he cleared a particular attempt. Next attempt, he is writing to improve. He got a lower rank.
Okay.
Now, he was so confident about the whole thing. He's an engineer. CSAT is his cup of tea. No problem at all. So after the preliminary, the paper 1 was over. That gap, almost 2.5 hours, 3 hours gap is there. So in that gap, he went and he was feeling sleepy. So he went and purchased some energy drink and he drank it. So what the Red Bull or something. So these kind of drama you should not do. You should be very careful. And he drank and he tried to write the exam in that CSAT paper. He felt so much of sleepy. I don't know. Initially, he might have got some energy. Later on, that energy got drained out. Now, he slept in the paper 2, CSAT, and he could not complete it and he failed in the second attempt, where first attempt he got a rank. So, these kind of blunders you should not be doing. I mean, there are many more things. As I told you, a candidate, he got his center near to his home, where he has born and brought up in his life, 15 minutes from his house. And he knew the center also. Still, he reached the center after 9 o'clock. 9:10 or 9:15 something, whichever we did, 1 minute, after the exam center was closed or they declared that it is closed, no more entry. He lost that attempt only because he did not reach the exam hall on time. The center was just 15 minutes away from the place where he was born and brought up. These kind of blunders should not be happening. Sleep, and in fact, as you said, people sleeping over in the exam hall. And you should sleep properly one day before the exam. And in fact, I will say that the next 15 days, your exam is at 9:30 to 11:30 and 2:30 to 4:30, and that is the time when you should be fully awake. And some of you may be studying throughout the night and sleeping throughout the day. So such people, stop doing this immediately. Come back to a normal life. Behave like a normal human being. Okay, not a nocturnal animal. Okay, so you start behaving so that your efficiency is also good at that time. Otherwise, if you start trying to do something, it may be a problem. At least 15 days practice should be there. So these kind of small things. And I know people who did not know about the center, searching this, especially in Delhi. There are so many, the same name schools are there.
Yes.
You may not be able to find out also which school to go. So these kind of blunders should not happen. You should be there much before time, and no mistake, as I told you, that black ballpoint pen. And if you say in the exam hall after entering the center and say, "Sir, I brought a blue pen, not a black pen," and all those nonsense, if you say, it can be disastrous for you. So be careful and be clear. And because it's once in every year, only one attempt you will get, and this can be your attempt. But if you miss it in the preliminary level itself, you are out of competition even before competing. So that can be disastrous for you.
Looks like being mindful is very important.
Yes, you
Very
have to be.
important.
Yes.
So, with this, we have come towards the end of our talk today. One last thing that I really want to know is, it is D-Day for a lot of aspirants. We think that it is the most important day of our life. There is anxiety, there is fear, there is every sort of emotion for students on that day. How do you think that one should maintain their calm on that day? And temperament handling is one thing that we often overlook during our preparation, and especially on the last days before the exam. So how do you suggest us to keep our cool on that day?
See, two things are there. Even now, when there are only 10 days, 15 days, you have to maintain your cool.
Yes.
But cool does not mean that you are sleeping. Okay. Cool means you have to do your duty properly and effectively and efficiently. What is your duty right now? Right now, say 10 days before, 15 days before, 20 days before the exam, is to revise effectively. And you should not be worried about your memory and all. Right now, you should be completing your material. Whatever material you have collected, whatever notes you have made, whatever books you have read and underlined, thinking that it is very important for the exam, you should be at least reading once, twice. In fact, last 6 days, every day you select one subject and complete that subject, one fast reading. So that don't try to recollect there. No need to recollect. It's not a test of recollection. Please remember, preliminary is not a test of recollection. I always say preliminary is a test of identification. You have to identify the answer. 4 options are given. Answer is given in front of you. You have to pinpoint and say, this is the answer. So you have to identify the answer. So, you revise. So last 6 days, each subject, history and culture, 1 day. Geography and environment, 1 day. Economics, 1 day. Polity, 1 day. Science and technology and science, 1 day. General knowledge, current affairs, 1 day. So 6 days will go like this. So till then also, try to revise all your material.
Right.
One fast reading. So that your subconscious mind will bring in front of you on the day of the exam. So that is one. So if you're doing everything in one round or 2 rounds in the last 15 days, that will make a lot of difference in your score. Don't add anything new. Even if somebody comes and says, sir, by this question is going to come, or rather from this material 2 questions will come, leave it if you have not read before. Don't get into that trap. Because anyway, we can leave 20-25 questions.
Right.
Even after that, you can make mistakes.
Right.
So you need only 55 correct. See, your target is 55 questions should be correct. So there is a lot of scope. So be cool. And in the exam hall, you have to, you know that you have to attempt around 75, 77 questions. And you should not be worried about this final, what will happen if I fail, or what will happen if I clear and I have not prepared for the main. All those thoughts should not be there. This is not the time to think about those things.
Yes.
You should only think one thing, that it's a very important occasion for me. This is the, I have to perform well. These 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon, I have to perform well. You should only think about the performance. What is the performance required? I have to attempt 75 questions and I have to get 55 of them correct. That is your goal and nothing else. Do it, and you have to have faith in your ability. When, say, 15 days before the exam or 17 days before the exam, you should have faith in you. Faith in your abilities. Faith in your subconscious mind and memory. Because you have done so much. Many of you might have prepared for 2 years, 3 years also. So you have done so much. Worked so hard. Everything is there in your notes. If that is converted into your memory, of course, now you do not do anything. Fast reading, it will come back. Have faith in you. Automatically things can happen.
So the civil services preliminary exam is just not the test of your knowledge, but I believe also of your accuracy. And no aspirant marks an answer thinking it is going to be wrong. We mark it and we believe that it is going to be a correct answer. And these stakes are very high in this examination also. So how many mistakes can we really afford in this exam, considering 1/3 negative marking?
Yeah. See, in fact, as you said, accuracy is an equally important aspect.
Yes.
If your accuracy level is very low, you will never clear in the exam. Yes. I think I told you earlier also, if your accuracy level is only 50%, you are 100% going to fail this paper. Suppose you attempted 80 questions. 50% accuracy means you got only 40 correct. If you are attempting 75 questions and if your accuracy level is 50%, means 37 questions correct, not enough to get through the exam. So accuracy has to be very high. That is why my strategy is, first of all, you should be able to identify at least 20-25 questions which we are not going to mark, so that we are not getting any negative marks out of that. Then you can still make some mistakes. Suppose you are attempting 75 questions. It's not that you have to get all 75 correct. You can afford to make mistakes in that 75. How much should be there? That is where 75 to 80% accuracy in those attempted questions. So simple thing, percentage you may not understand. Simple thing is 15 out of 20 questions should be correct. If you are attempting 20 questions, if you are marking 20 questions, you can afford to make 4 or 5 mistakes. Ideally, only 4 mistakes. Upper level, 5 mistakes every 20 questions. So every 20 questions, 15 marks means 60 questions you are attempting, you are getting 45. I am saying 75 questions to attempt. So another 10, 11. So 45 plus 11 is 55, 56. So your task of getting, or your target is, correct answer should be 55 to 60. Out of 75 to 77 questions you attempted. So the accuracy level should be 75 to 80%.
Right.
Anything less than that, you are going to get negative marks. Your negative marks will ultimately pinch you. Negative marks are going to trouble you. So in any case, the worst scenario is 70% accuracy. That will be a risky proposition. But it cannot be less than that. If it is less than that, you are in trouble. If you are getting 60% accuracy, simple thing, 70 questions you are attempting. Okay, 70 into 60 means 42 questions only correct. Not good enough to get to, then you get all minus marks. So 60% accuracy is not sufficient. Minimum is 70, but even 70 is a risky thing. 75%. 75 means whenever you attempt 20 questions, 15 should be correct. That is the spirit. Then you will get. So accuracy is the key, and accuracy will come. You may be asking how this accuracy will come. Accuracy will come from repeated revision. Repeated revision will improve your knowledge. Your clarity will come. Then you will not make such mistakes. So if you have read only once or twice, it may not be that easy to get that kind of accuracy, but that is what is expected. It's a high stake exam. It's like an Olympics. You know, a 100 meters race. You are running good, but that is not good enough to get through a medal in Olympics. UPSC exam is like Olympics. You have to compete with the best in the country. And so, naturally, see, when I mentioned that, almost 10, 12 lakh people are applying, 5, 6 lakh people are appearing, 1 lakh serious people, even from that serious 1 lakh people, only 13, 14,000 will clear this exam. So, naturally, the stakes are high. There are good people who have practiced well. So, accuracy has to improve, and you have no choice in this. And you should not say, who can do it? You can do it. All successful candidates are doing it. So you can also do it. So it is something what people are doing. So 13, 14,000 people are able to get accuracy level of 75 to 80%. And they are attempting around 75, 77 questions only. And such people are getting through. You should be in that bracket. For that, you have to work hard. Strategy is there. Execution is your task. I cannot execute it for you. We can only tell what is required. You have to execute it.
So during this process, is it also important to stop midway and look for your pace, reflect on your answers? There is this need for self-reflection in this paper, like midway especially, because...
See, in fact, I think what you are asking is, like some people go to the exam hall, the moment the bell rings, yes, and when you're asked to start the answer, you are just doing and without thinking anything. Yes. And around 1 hour, 45 minutes, suddenly you realize, or maybe you realize only after the 2 hours bell is rang, saying that, oh, time is over. So that should not happen. You should not be, doing something in a blind way. You have to plan. See, you have to be aware that you have 2 hours of time. In this 2 hours, I have to mark around 75 questions in the OMR sheet. Not read the question, mark in the OMR sheet. Very important. So, the 2 hours, 50-50 time, the first 1 hour, how much to attend? See, there should be some idea about it. My strategy is, in the first 1 hour, since your mind is also fresh, you should have marked at least 40 questions in the OMR sheet. Okay. Second hour, another 35 questions. So it becomes 75. But how do you know that are you in the right pace? Sometimes it may so happen because, 4 different sets of papers are there. Suppose in your case, unfortunately, if you are getting some of the tough questions in the beginning, you may take more time. But some of you might have got some easy questions in the beginning. So you may take less time. So it all depends because 4 sets are there. So now what is required is at the end of 1 hour, you make sure that at the end of 1 hour, you have a watch with you, so there is no problem. And maybe even a bell also will be there in the midway through. At that 1 hour time, you should count the number of questions you have marked in the OMR sheet. And make sure that, suppose you are supposed to reach around 40 and you have reached only, say, 30. That means in the next 1 hour, you have to attempt at least 45 questions.
Right.
So you have to increase your speed. Or if it is the opposite case, say for example, you already marked 47, 48 questions. So you have to mark only 25, 27 in the next 1 hour. So you have to slow down.
Right.
Don't think that, sir, 47 ho gaya, let me go and mark 85 and 90, then you will fail and come back. So you have to have a midway assessment regarding the speed, how many more to attempt it. So you can slow down or you can increase your speed depending upon your requirement. So at the end of 1 hour, please count, see the number of questions you have already attempted and marked in the OMR sheet. Take a pause for 1 minute, relax a bit, maybe close your eyes and, recoup, continue your attempts so that you can reach around 75, 77 questions marked in the OMR sheet.
Right.
I am repeatedly saying, marked in the OMR sheet. You read, doesn't matter. You read all questions, doesn't matter. Whether you have attempted, whether you have marked in the OMR sheet, that is a challenge. It is not easy, and you cannot mark less and come out. You should not come and tell me, sir, I could attempt only 64, 63, and but all are very strong. This is nonsense. And you have to, and not only that, when you come out of the exam hall, I also tell this. The instruction says that don't write anything in the question paper, but you can put some mark regarding what you have marked in the OMR. So if question number 2 answer is A, put a small dot and say that this is what I have marked in the so that when you come out of the exam hall, you can at least assess how many questions you have attempted and which are the answers you marked, so that you can assess where you stand. If you on the same day itself, you will come to know whether whether there is any chance of clearing this exam or not. If there is no chance, at least you can start preparing for next year. And if you think that you are in the zone, the likely zone of clearing, say you are getting around 90, 95 or whatever be the score required, you can start preparing for the main exam from next day, because as you know very well, the gap between the preliminary and the main is just less than 3 months now. So you have no time to relax and celebrate. You have only time to prepare for the main exam immediately. So even you should know, if a candidate comes out and tell me, sir, I don't know which answer I marked. I did not, I did not do any marking in my question paper and I just came out. Such candidates are non-serious candidates. Any serious candidate will come back and tell me, sir, I have attended this number of questions and I am likely to get this mark. Of course, what we thought as the right answer and what UPSC says may be different. Right. That's a different story altogether. But you cannot come and say that I don't have any clue about what I marked and how many questions I marked. These kind of things, if you say, the only answer from my side is you are a non-serious aspirant. Non-serious people, even if Almighty God wants to make you IAS, you will not become, because you are not serious. You are not cooperating with God to get through this exam. So these things are very important. So mid paper correction, meaning the speed, very important. You will get a clue. Accordingly, you can plan and increase or decrease the speed and make sure that you are reaching the required number of questions. So these kind of small strategies will make a lot of difference. And ultimately, that's what I can again tell you. See, you may be a good candidate, may be knowing around 60 questions. An average student may be knowing around 55. Even after knowing 55 questions correct, still you can fail if you attempt all questions. A good student getting 60 marks and 40 wrong, he is also in danger zone. Is it not? 60 and 40 wrong means you are getting 13 negative marks. So 60 minus 13 is 47, 94, just sufficient. Maybe you may just manage. But if you are getting 60 correct, and if you attempted only 75 or 77 or even 80, you are far above the cutoff mark. So same knowledge, a poor strategy can result in your failure in the preliminary exam, because the negative marks are very high. So you should be aware of these things and be serious about this strategy, so that you can get through without fail, with minimum knowledge, or rather with optimum knowledge, optimum correct answers. You should get through the exam by planning it properly.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. This has been very insightful. I'm sure this is going to help all the aspirants for their UPSC Prelims exam this year. To everyone watching, thank you so much.
Thank you.